It has been quite a while since there was an Ana guide on the channel, which is quite comical considering the fact I'm a little bit of an Ana main. That being said, I've reached top 100 multiple times on the character in both Overwatch 1 and 2 with a ton of high-level competitive experience as well. While Ana can be incredibly strong, especially in Overwatch 2, it is really easy to do absolutely nothing on this character if you don't think through her kit correctly. So let's dive into how you can carry as Ana in Ranked. In order to really pop off as Ana, you have to understand the compositions she has played within and the role she fills for her team. Ana is not picked for just her damage. That's what Zen is for. She is also not picked for just her healing. That is what Moira, Kiriko, and Baptiste are used for. Instead, she is used for her ability to create opportunities for her team and make plays when needed. This is why she is incredible in Ranked, as the enemy generally lacks the coordination to shut down that carry potential. Because of this role, she needs a little bit of time to find value with her grenade aggressively. She doesn't want to play as slow as Zen in spam compositions that wants to elongate the fight as long as possible, or Lucio that wants to run in all the time as fast as possible. Rather, she needs to have enough time to find the nade and then quickly finish the fight soon thereafter. Thus, Ana is paired well with a character like Winston that allows her to build Nano as he takes soft engagements to gain map control for a strong win condition. On top of this, in the neutral fight, it also helps her to find easier angles to look for anti-nades. She isn't necessarily going to stay stacked alongside her Winston, rather active with him and rotating as the fight opens up and progresses. If you end up playing Ana with a character like Reinhardt though, you generally are going to have to play closer to him. It all depends though on what tank you were against. If you were against a Brawly core featuring a Junker Queen, Reinhardt, Orisa, or Zarya, you can afford to play a little further away from your Reinhardt, so they have a harder time to get to you. However, if you were playing against a more dive-centric core, you'll want to stay stacked with your team so that you don't get caught out in the open. Ana is a complicated character, and this section will make a lot more sense after we talk about her anti-nade. There's a reason why I refer to this ability as the anti-nade, and not the biotic grenade, especially after its recent nerf. This ability should be used aggressively 90% of the time. If you have been a long-term member of the channel, you already know this. Simply throwing the grenade to deal anti-effects was enough to carry consistently in Overwatch 1. This was because with 6 players and 2 tanks, it was naturally more impactful. But now that there's one less tank, it may be easier to hit, but it has a chance of getting a lot less value. This isn't just because of the introduction of Suzu, it also is because some targets are just tankier as a result of the 5v5 switch. For example, let's take Orisa. A lot of players will show me VODs on Fiverr where they are being aggressive with nade and are extremely confused why they are losing. They all suffer from the same problem of nading Orisa. You have to take it a step further than just applying the anti-nade effect. If Orisa has gold active or still has the cooldown, anti-ing her when she has full health does not stop her whatsoever. Just look at how much damage this Bastion does. She will not die no matter how many resources you put into her. If she doesn't have gold, obviously the situation changes, but a lot of people don't understand that. On top of this, just because the enemy has a Kiriko does not mean you instantly lose on Ana. It simply amplifies the importance that you are hitting nades that your team can follow up upon. The worst thing that can happen is you throwing the anti-nade just for it to not be Suzu'd. If you want to develop a deeper understanding of this matchup though, I've already created a video for your convenience you can find in the description. The key is that you have to set up the opportunity for your team to actually follow up with it. Sure, I can anti-nade a full team of 5, but if I yucked the nade from 50 meters away and my team is still in spawn, it gets no value whatsoever. It takes time to find when it is the right time to nade, but it all comes down to whether or not your team has the opportunity to follow up upon that. This changes based on the situation. On top of this, while I may have made lineup videos in the past, they quite frankly are not required in the new game. The game moves much faster than it ever has before, and in Ranked, it takes a lot of coordination to get value. This isn't to say that you can't get any value with set nades. So if this is a series you are all interested in me bringing back, let me know in the comments and I would be more than happy to provide that content for you all. Moving on, however, let's swing things back to Ana's primary, the Biotic Rifle. The rifle does 75 damage or healing per shot, which is important to note because it does a great job at forcing out tracers and other flankers if you have keen eyes before the fight starts. However, in order to set yourself up for a situation like this, you have to make sure you are not scoping in all of the time. Players generally have one of two tendencies. It's either scoping in too much or scoping in too little. You should remain unscoped in close to mid-range engagements. This will allow you to move around quickly and maintain a full field of view. You should remain scoped though when the engagement is long-ranged or when the shots must get hit. For example, when finishing off a key target for your team or when attempting to keep a key teammate up throughout the fight. Quickscopes can also be used in these situations, but it is niche because it takes longer to reset the next shot you're going to take. So the quickscope is only really used when you know you only need to hit a single shot given the situation. You want to make sure you avoid scoping in against snipers as well. Please do not not 1v1 a Widow while remaining scoped. Go for the quick scope once and be unpredictable. Your teammates will thank you. Remember, you do not need to necessarily kill people either. You just need to pressure them off of power positions when possible. This is also especially true against pharmacy combos, but I digress. If you struggle with one type of aim over the other though, I suggest using the workshop code VAXTA, VAXTA, to train up on your weaknesses. Although if that is too boring for you, there are some other occasional tryhard FFA lobbies and on a paintball lobbies that may be helpful for you as well that can be found in the custom games tab. Let's move on to the sleep dart though. Hitting the sleep dart can be pretty difficult for players, but at the end of the day, that comes down to practice. So instead, let's talk about how you should think through hitting more meaningful sleep darts. A lot of players tend to just throw the cooldown around without thinking about what the enemy has ready to kill your team with. For example, if the enemy Pharah has a barrage, the Genji has a blade, or the soldier has visor, you should try your best to avoid using the sleep dart until you have the opportunity to counter that ultimate. This will give you so many more opportunities to create insane value for your team compared to the contrary where you sit around and die off cooldown. Generally, if a character hasn't used their ultimate in 2 to 3 fights, they probably have it. But just keep in mind that the higher you go, the faster players are generally going to be getting their ultimates. The more niche tip I have for Sleep Dart, however, is how you play off of it. A lot of players sleep enemies, but tend to sit around their sleeping target or look at it instead of the fight that is going on around them. Understand that you have time to work with and you should use it to the best of your ability. If you sleep a Doomfist that is full health and has ultimate, you should probably run to a safe position before you start dealing damage to him again. If you sleep a Genji blade, you should probably wait for your team to come help you eliminate him, or at least wait for the blade to disappear. You have 5 seconds to work with against squishies, so be patient and make sure you keep the bigger picture in mind. On to the last tip of the video, however, let's talk about Nano Boost and how you can get the most value out of it every single game. At this point, the game has been out for almost 7 years. I feel like most of you watching this video probably understand that nanoing Reinhardt, Genji, and Soldier are great combos to utilize. What you may not think about though is when these combos are actually really bad nanos. For example, does nanoing a Reinhardt into a Winston, Sombra, Tracer, Lucio, and Moira create any value? No. It doesn't. Why? All of those characters are just going to run away from your nanoed Reinhardt. The same goes for a soldier's visor into a Diva defense matrix or a Reinhardt shield. At the end of the day, when using nano, you are trying to create an opportunity that will make you win the fight efficiently. Usually the combos are really effective, but understand that they aren't always the most efficient given the situation, and you have to get a good read on it. Think of nano as a multiplier. You want to use nano when someone is activated or is actively producing value aggressively. When Reinhardt is against a Winston composition, he is not activated. In other words, let's say he is equal to 0 in this hypothetical equation. If nano was a 2x multiplier, 0 times 2 is still, well, 0. However, if we fix the scope of attention to the Cassidy in the backline that has line of sight of all of the enemies, his value could be equal to, let's say, 2. Now we have a value of 4 given the equation multiplier of 2 instead of a 0. Even though Cassidy is not a typical combo nano, he is activated in the given situation and will find significant value, while the Reinhardt, equal to 0, will not. The other situation is when you want to deactivate the enemy. This is in situations where you want to keep your teammate alive from the enemy's utility they are inputting into the fight. For example, if the enemy Genji is blading your team and targeting your friendly Zenyatta that doesn't quite have Transcendence yet, it is viable to nano your Zenyatta to stop the Genji from getting a dash reset and dicing up the rest of your team. Nano is the deepest ability within Ana's kit. It is developed the most in the ways that professionals use the ability throughout time. The biggest tip I can give you though is to not think so one-dimensionally about the ultimate. It is incredibly versatile, so use it frequently and test around until you find the perfect balance. So if you were to take anything away from this video, understand that Ana is a support that specializes in creating opportunities for her team to succeed, and she needs a little bit of time to do so. She does this by utilizing her anti-grenades aggressively in situations where the team can follow up on them. Her gun should be used to pressure out enemies, while her sleep dart should be used to shut down the enemy's win condition frequently. Lastly, her nano boost can be used in a multitude of ways in a pinch to take advantage of any challenging fight that is thrown at her. If you can slow down and understand the theory behind Ana, locking in and performing will be much easier, I guarantee it. If you found value in today's video, consider giving the video a like or subscribing to the channel. If you're watching this video close to its release, I am likely currently streaming an Ana Unranked to GM on both YouTube and Twitch with the links in the description. If it is concluded, you'll see a card in the top right of your screen if you're interested. Thank you all so much for watching, but until next time, I've got to peace out and Paz out. I'll see you in the next one.